So I did a post recently on how we were done with people who were still refusing to wear a mask. It was based on the amount of people who have just straight up refused to follow protocols and have decided that their right to freedom is more important than someone else's right to life. Last time I checked, life came before liberty and the pursuit of happiness in the Constitution. So we're gonna have to stop thinking about just our own freedoms and start thinking about the freedom of others. There were over 30,000 comments on my original post. And for every thank you from a healthcare worker or a citizen who understands how masks work, there were at least 10 that were so ignorant, so hateful, so full of disinformation that it made me afraid for the country. At this point, we have almost 400,000 people dead. The virus is mutating around the world faster than we can handle it, and we're in a race against time to get people vaccinated before the new strain nullifies its protection. My entire goal is to save as many lives as possible. How can you be so smug about doing the opposite? How can we be fellow countrymen if you care so little about the rest of us? So I'm going to do a series that goes through the main arguments people are making against masks to hopefully clear up some confusion. And for those of you who told me to do research, here it is. Face masks, combined with other preventative measures such as frequent hand washing and social distancing, help slow the spread of coronavirus. The end. It's just true. Face masks were recommended at the start of the pandemic because initially there was a shortage of masks for frontline workers. So authorities were reluctant to recommend masks to the general public. Experts at the time also didn't know the extent to which people could spread the virus before or without symptoms. Both asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic groups can unknowingly spread this virus. In fact, a new model out of the CDC this week claims that people without symptoms spread the virus in more than half the cases. Now, I honestly wouldn't care what you did if masks worked that way. If the people who wore masks were protected, then it really wouldn't matter. I could wear one and you could take your chances. But masks protect others from you. So in that case, it does matter if you don't wear one, because you're not wearing one can make other people sick. The CDC actually recommends people wear face masks in public settings, especially when other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain. Masks help in two ways. The primary way is to reduce the spread of respiratory droplets from an infected person to the world. The second way is to limit the amount of respiratory droplets an uninfected person might inhale. To really limit the spread, we all need to be wearing one. Then the virus really has very little place to go. You do have the right to choose. But so do private businesses who are telling you that you can't come in. Wearing a mask shows respect for other people, and it is the only way you can truly help stop the spread of this disease. So why not do it? First of all, very disingenuous, because I know you don't believe in my body, my choice. But my body, my choice only works when your choice doesn't affect another person's life. Some stranger's abortion has zero effect on your existence, but a stranger's choice to not wear a mask could kill you. So those are two very different arguments. N95s are the most effective of all the masks, with a 95% success rate at keeping the wearer free of inhaling viral particles. But these masks are also hard to find and still mostly reserved for frontline workers in high-risk settings. KN95s are the next best choice as far as protection, and then cloth masks, and then surgical masks. KN95s are very protective, but even cloth masks have been shown to limit viral transmission by 50%. And when we're talking death counts this high, 50% is a very good statistic. There's no way to know whether having the coronavirus once provides immunity or how long that immunity might last, which means you could potentially catch the disease again, and then you could potentially spread it to others. So mask up. Masks are simply one strategy in a toolbox of different preventative measures. You can wear one and still catch it from a family member or a coworker, or from touching your eyes or not properly washing your hands. It doesn't mean you shouldn't protect yourself and others when you're out in the world. First of all, none of the health agencies specify any health conditions that would constitute a mask exemption. Dr. David Kaufman, pulmonologist and director of the medical ICU at Tisch Hospital, says, there are no known medical conditions aside from a severe skin condition on your face that would prevent a person from wearing a mask. But if you are some kind of very rare person that has a medical anomaly that would prevent you from wearing a mask, you might want to avoid interacting with people as much as possible because you don't have the ability to protect yourself. There is absolutely no scientific evidence that mask wearing weakens the immune system. Sorry. Look, America is a litigious society, so all masks come with disclaimers to avoid the inconvenience of some lawsuit if someone contracts the virus. Nothing is guaranteed in life, and companies like to put that in writing to protect their bottom line. It doesn't mean they don't work, it just means they don't want to be sued. Yeah, Trump incorrectly claimed the CDC said 85% of people who wore masks got the coronavirus. He was basing this on information from a scientific study he didn't understand and was completely wrong. In fact, the people who most consistently wear masks, namely the medical community, have been statistically proven to contract the virus at a far lower rate than the general population. So, they work. Isolating yourself completely is not practical or mentally helpful for the vast majority of our population. There are a lot of essential workers out there who don't have the choice to just stay home. The next reasonable step is to do things that limit the likelihood of you spreading the virus or you contracting the virus, which includes distancing, hand washing, and, you guessed it, mask wearing. The Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization have categorized COVID-19 as a pandemic and a serious global health threat, not up for debate. As of today, close to 2 million people have died worldwide, including 360,000 Americans. It's real. A 99% survival rate does sound good, but when it's scaled up to include the 329 million people who live in America, we're looking at around 700,000 and 1.5 million dead, and that's not good. Dr. Fauci says a 1% mortality rate means that the coronavirus is at least 10 times more lethal than the seasonal flu. So, yes, a person's overall health and age do affect who gets most sick from the virus, but so do lifestyles, behavior, sex, underlying conditions, and access to healthcare. Also, there have been plenty of otherwise healthy people who have ended up contracting this virus. And although it's true that most people do recover completely, some people, even those who've had a very mild version, continue to experience symptoms long after recovery. They've seen long-term damage to the heart, the lungs, the brain, blood clots, mood problems, long-term chronic fatigue. So you don't want this no matter how healthy you are right now. And as someone who is a sick person, to be told that it doesn't matter if I die is super irritating. So there's that. I got nothing. You're an asshole. That's an asshole argument. Fuck off. Yeah, people die all the time, but there's no reason we shouldn't try to limit the amount of people that die, taking the most limited precaution we can to save others' lives. Really, dude? You carry a firearm for protection, but you won't wear a mask for the same reason? 4,000 Americans are dying a day now, right? At this point, the mask might be the more heroic thing to be wearing. Yeah, I'm definitely scared. Anyone who's not isn't paying attention, has never spent any amount of time in a hospital, or has never struggled to breathe. But since I've done all three of those things, I can tell you it is terrifying. And right now, you have to do it all by yourself. No one can come visit you or sit with you or hold your hand. Plus, if you get a bad bout of COVID, it's a terrible, lonely, terrifying death. So yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared for all of us, which is why I want us all wearing masks. Honestly, I don't know where this flex comes from. You're basically saying I'm shitty at my job, I'm in the medical field, and I don't respect science. But for the record, the official CDC recommendation is that healthcare personnel wear face masks at all times, including break rooms and common areas where they may encounter coworkers or visitors. So, mask up. Now, I don't know about every hospital in America. Maybe that's true where you live. But I live in LA, where the ICUs are at 120% capacity. EMTs are no longer transporting people to the hospital if they can't revive them at the scene. They're just calling time of death. They're rationing oxygen, and people are waiting hours in ambulances just to be admitted to the hospital. So, certainly true here. We do. That's why we're seeking cures and new drug treatments and watching our behaviors to avoid these diseases. And since the coronavirus has now become the leading cause of death in America, a mask seems like a pretty small ask to combat this crisis. Be a good person and look out for others. And you can tell me to fuck off, Karen, as much as you want, but I'm really just trying to help others save lives. Shouldn't you be doing the same?